Morning, guys. So I haven't vlogged in a while. I've been busy, um, backgammon related wise. I created this Super Genius quiz where we invited probably 12 of the top 20 players in the world, including ZZ and Ryan Rebello, Wilcox Snellings, David Wells, Bob Watchtell, Doug Sheeman. I mean, the list goes on and on. Incredible players. And I set them 100 of my problems, sort of errors that I'd made as a test. And we're going to write it up with all their comments and their thinking as a book. So I haven't been playing much myself, but my rating has risen to about 27.95. It's taken a while. It's not been as easy as I thought, to be honest with you. A little bit of a humbling experience. And now, if I can win this match, just a quick 5-pointer, I'll make the top 100 on the site, which is some kind of milestone. I don't think it's going to be easy to get to the top 30, that's for sure. Anyway, let's focus on this. So we've got a 6-3. I'm not really sure what to play. Let's try, I don't know, there's this. Really already confused. I've got to get moving with one of them. If I play the 3 and the 6, actually, well, that leaves too much. 3s, 2s, 4s, so I think the 6 is out. Okay, let's go for this. I'm not sure. It's probably not going to be certainly not going to be a blunder either way, but it might be an error. But from working on this Genius quiz with all these amazing players, I also did some interviews with them at the beginning of the book. And it's fascinating to hear how they think about the game. And I really learned a lot from the experience, and I'm definitely sharper for it. Even the language they use when in their comments, when you're playing, some of the themes come up. And whilst obviously you can't memorize every single position in backgammon, just the line of thinking and the way they think, it's definitely helped me improve a little bit. And I can't wait it should be finished and wrapped up by year end. Hopefully I'll get it published, say springtime next year. And the format of the quiz is that there are 10 sets of 10 problems covering lots of different positions. And you can have a go at it, the positions yourself, give yourself a score. And so you can compare yourself to all the geniuses and see how you did before looking at the answers, the XG rollouts, and then their comments. So you get the answers and the why. I think it's quite an unusual format because instead of just one author and the way they think about the game, you get to hear so many different views from the top players. Sometimes obviously they make the same points, but then I've sort of edited that out, so we have 3 or 4 geniuses commenting on each position, adding something new. Right, enough chat. Maybe I'll just try and focus on this. It's kind of a match I like to win or play well in. Wu Metz we're playing against from Japan. 2600, decent player. So pretty even game. The race is pretty level. We've both got 4 points. He's got the outfield control, but I've got a slightly better primer in front of him. I'd say I'm a small favourite. Actually, I'm down 16 pips in the race. Can't really come off our anchor, so this is forced. Slightly awkward shot for him. Oh, I think he just comes in. It's too big to run off the anchor here. So we can do this, or maybe this because he's got a play. No blots in board, keep the board. He's probably going to play to the 6 and the 1, keeping it smooth, switching. Right. I mean, this is super ugly, but the race is close with no shots. we're not stepping out. The other player's this. 4-2, 4-3, 4-4 covers, but 4-1, 4-5, 4-6. We get a shot back, which is pretty dangerous for him. Obviously, he'd still be happy to hit. Is it worth it? If I do this, he's going to make the board I have to play next time. I'm a bit stiff. Difficult. Really not sure here. This looks so tempting. Just think it's too big, but it could well be right. Now, something interesting in the comments in the interviews was that Joe Russell said something very interesting about how he practices. He doesn't just look at errors, but he looks at all the close plays where it turns out not to be close. Because if he thinks a play is close and it's not, basically he sees it as an error in his thinking. So whilst it doesn't come up as an error on XG, even if he gets it right, if it was a sort of mental toss-up or he had to spend time on the play, then it's actually still an error, a virtual error kind of thing. So afterwards, whenever there's a close play like that one, say even if he gets it right, he goes back into XG in the lab, plays around with different checkers to see where you have to move the checkers to make it not an error, and try and learn something from the position. So I think because of XG, to play at the top level, it's really all about how you learn and how you improve and how you study your matches. In fact, Dirk Schiemann says a match played and not properly analysed is a match wasted. Okay, so here we're up 4 pips. We've got an extra checker off, an extra crossover. I think it's a pretty clear double and a pretty easy take. Can't wait till Galaxy gets the new function of auto bear off. Whenever you can take 2 checkers off just to do it, speed things up a lot. Games Grid used to have that 20 years ago, so it shouldn't be too hard to implement. Save a bit of clicking, get more GPH, as Sander Lyloff explained in one of his comments, games per hour, which is something to consider when you're playing for money. It's a marginal play. Or actually, his comment came up at a position where it was a decision whether to play on too good or not, and he's just like, in practicality, whenever it's close, I just double, because if they pass, it leads to more games. So we are look at slot, duplicate some of his 3s. Okay. 3 away, 5 away, 65-35 now for the match. As you know, I always like to just think about the score and the match equities and what the strategy is before the game starts, and in the heat of the battle, don't have to waste time. So what's to think about here? He makes the anchor before he comes in. And we could do this, but it strips the 8. It does make the 4. The other players just naturally unload the mid. Does this lead to any awkward? 6-1. I think we do this. It's probably close, but my first instinct actually was just to come off the 13. That's one other thing that came up from the Genius quiz. We did it in real time, and I sent them all it was over Zoom, a shared Google Sheet, where I could see, like a spreadsheet, where I could see them inputting the answers. And it was very rare for someone to make the wrong play and then later change their answer to the right play. They're given 10 minutes for 10 questions, like an average of a minute each. But basically their first instinct was nearly always right. Is it enough to double? Could be. It's definitely a take. 3-point equity, 7 pips race. Now it's not looking too great. Oh, he doesn't even double. But the match score, you want to protect your lead when you're leading 2-0. So it's harder to take them for money in a non-gammonish position. Now he's got the 6 prime, it's game over. I think he missed a few cubes here. Well, the race was, wow, that's a huge blunder. He didn't even see the 6 prime. Maybe it's like a weaver and now I've got to take. If he cubed there, but not now. Whoops. So he's giving me a gift here, this game. Not cubing me out. Now we're 11 pips up, even though we're up 2 crossovers, it's an obvious double. I go 3, 2 away, 5 away. Obviously at this score I basically hardly ever cube until we get close to gin, because going 4-1 up, 4-0 Crawford, 85% is so huge, and the gammons win the match anyway. And we don't really want to get in a position which is too gammonish for either side. Okay, so we've got a choice here. Our first instinct's the bar. The other play, dupes 4s, makes the 2 point. It's actually not bad. 1, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4, double 4, 7 shots. 5, 6 is 9. Pretty similar number of shots. 1, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4 is 8, double 4 is 9, double 2 is 10. So it's 1 extra shot, but it keeps the structure. Somehow I prefer this, but I've got a feeling the computer will like this. It's 2 blots. Okay, I'm going to go for this. Just at the score, don't really want lots of blots floating around when he's got a stronger board playing with. Okay, so the 2 we hit. Again, we've got a choice. Come here, and then that bears on the 4 and 5. Gives him 4, 6, double 5 and all 4s. The other play gives him 3s and 5, 6. I prefer this because these are 6 away from each other, so if he hits, I've got a good 6 from the bar. Actually, that doesn't make sense. If he hits, it doesn't really help my 6, but I don't know, probably not much in it. So there's only 2 4s. We could do this, but it piles up the 6, 2 blots, 3 blots. I think this is pretty clear. He hasn't got that extra spare on the 6 point, which makes a huge difference. It's hard for him to attack. I mean, okay, he's rolled, what is it? Maybe double 3's better, but it's certainly top 10% rolls, one of the best rolls, and we still survive it. Now at this score for him, I would probably cube, because if he loses the game, he's 4 or 5-0 down anyway, and this is gammonish, but it's just so far to go. He's got 3 men back. I have to take. I'm certainly not loving it. I mean, I could do this, but what's the point? He hits with 2s, 6s, comes in anyway. It doesn't really achieve much. I think let's duplicate 6s somewhat and stay. Don't want to create another block and hit deep for no real gain. He's got so many men back here, but we still dearly love to anchor. And here we go. 1, 2. And I think obviously we point on the 3. If we do this, opening ourselves up to everything, and we've got plenty of builders to make the 5 later. Right, this is a crucial roll. Obviously, we're not interested in gammons. Looks like we just hit on the 5 point. The gain's so huge. And the other play, something like this, just with one block back, builds a prime in front of him. And there is this funky play. It's actually not terrible at the score. It is in 5, 6s and 1s. No, I think we do this. We go after the 5 point. If we get hit back, it's not great, but it's not the end of the world. And the upside's so huge here. Okay, so the 5 is 5. The 5 is clear. Now we'd like to step out whilst he's on the bar and escape. But if he rolls a 2, he's got such a great game forever. We've got to deny him equity for the 2-4 back game. Hit him off the 2 point. Well, 5 is forced. I think this is too big, leaving him 1s, 4s, 5s, 3 blots. I think we hate staying back like this. And he's going to have outfield control, but we have to do it. And it may have been right to step out there and then. 3 point board we're facing versus 4 point board. Maybe I played that too quickly. And how do we get home now? Big trouble. Big trouble. Is he going to hit twice and go for the kill? Or hit with the 3 and step out or come to the 8? Now he's made the prime and escapes, and we've got some really awkward entry numbers now. Like this. In retrospect, leaving two men back was most likely a blunder. Anyway, 1. Looks like switch and hit on the ace. Is there anything else? I'd love to come up with a 1. But 5's forced. I mean, just got to do this. It's not even so much just winning the game, but we want to try and save the gammon. Not have any more men back, but it's not going well if he gammons us. He goes 1 away, 2 away, Crawford for 70%. He just wants to keep outfield control and bring all the builders in nicely, so when I get squeezed off a 6, he can pick up the 4th checker and attack me. He didn't do that. Sort of boring, kind of a little bit strange why he played at making the 11 and so on. But it's worked out for him. What did he do? Yeah. Well, one thing's for sure, we haven't had too many decisions to make the last 5-6 rolls or the rest of this game, whereas he does. Okay, we've got no back game, our board's gone, so our best hope is just stepping up and trying to save the G. My guess is Gammons are probably even money from here. Maybe we're a small favourite to save it. In fact, we are a favourite. 13 crossovers, but we're primed. So now for being 13 crossovers versus 19, with 13 versus 15, his crossovers are shorter. We got no board, he should play aggressively, take 2 men off here. Yeah. Look at that play. Oh dear. Well, I'll be upset if he's outplayed me. That's one thing I can say. I shouldn't be on a free roll for the ratings points. Otherwise, it's back in the lab, spending more time for me. Do I just safety this block? No. Let's go for outfield coverage. Not trying to win this game. Just trying to save the G, which looks like we have. A huge result. So we go to an interesting score where we'll be 2 away, 3 away. One of the trickiest scores in backgammon. We have a sort of dead cube. I can make the inner points later. The anchor's the priority now. The holding game at this score is actually, even though I'm losing this one, not anymore, the kind of game we favour without gammons at this score. Kind of weird roll. 1, 2. Can we make the points? Don't want to lose the 9 point. Funny, leaving inner broad blots often induces opponents to run off their anchors too early when they shouldn't. Like now, it would be a big mistake for him to play 14 and 13 because it would be a level race pretty much with me on roll. See, he did it because he sees the 2 blots and he thinks, aha, this is a good time to go. just pretty much the cardinal rule of backgammon. When you're behind in the race, stay back. When you're in front, run. Unless you're behind a 6 prime or some deep timing game or back game or something, that rule just holds. But I guess it's right if you know you're going to roll double fives. Now, I mean, pip-wise, it's a take. 70-75 is 5 pips on 70. It's even less than 10%. But he's got 3 extra crossovers. And at the score, we've got a much harder take point because if he wins, he goes 70% for the match as opposed to being 50. If I pass, I think it's double pass here. Pretty sure he'll cube after thinking this long. Okay, so we go to two away. Does he know the? Yeah, he knows the kind of weird cube after the first roll theory. Playing him, if it was my guy, I probably wouldn't cube because I think there's a chance for some errors later the way he's playing. Anyway, now we're at DMP to shoot out for a place in the top 100 and 2800 rating. I hope it's not another boring holding game, which it's kind of looking like to some extent. Give you something more interesting for the vlog. First decision. So we could double hit. Puts us up 16, 2 on the bar, he's got a blot. But we're kind of winning the game and we could just do this, not get hit back. This is my preference, I think. I mean, do we want to be blitzing and hitting like this? He rolls an ace, he gets favourite. Don't want gammons, I think that we just do this at this score. Play quietly, but he's made the bar and we've anchored up. He's anchored up rather. That'll leave me 2 pips in front on roll. So here, I mean, this gives us lots of play. We want the 8 point. The other player's this. Dumping. Not good for the race. Or this, no. Okay. Not sure about that. We lose the 9 point. But it's better for the race and gives us lots of play. Head in the race, disengage. So he's got an anchor to a holding game 4 points away. Now, sometimes it's right to do it now whilst he hasn't got the board. Leaves us up 20. 1-1 he likes, 1-2, 1-3, 1-5, 1-6, 1-4 are bad. Don't think we do it. We don't want to be hit with a 1. If it was a 5-away or a 6-way holding game, probably we do. But it's all easy when I roll like that. So it's looking like game over. Now, ratings wise, this would take me to 2800-ish, slightly, I don't know, 95th rank or something. There were 75,000 players registered on Galaxy. I think about 30,000 active. Not sure what he's saying in my role. And to be honest, when I'm playing, I think 2850 is very achievable just by keeping going the way I'm going and a little bit of run good in the rolls, and I'll be there pretty quickly. But once you get up to, I've got a feeling my standard, I'm good enough to get up to sort of 2800, 2850, maybe 2900. But above that, the players are so good. It'll probably take me like a couple of days, a couple of hours a day to improve. Okay, so I played a 4, which is pretty average, slightly worse than my average. Not great, but it's not terrible. Oops, I'll take the win. So so you can see just here, recently I've been playing pretty consistently 4, 4.2, 1.38, 3, 1.67. pretty much haven't played a match worse than 4 for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20 odd. Horror with a 9 points, 2 9-pointers here, but overall pretty solid. That's why my rating's gone up from improved a bit. So if we download this match, let's drag it into XG. We'll give it a quick analysis. We don't really need to see his plays, so it'll be quicker. Just takes 35 seconds to analyze. Let's look why I played a 4. It's a bit of a itty match with holding games. You can see as it's analysing that I made some errors early on. Let's just go through it. Okay, so a little improvement on the Galaxy rating, 3.66, which is just about world class. It's pretty good. Not great, but if I always play that level, I'd be happy. It's slightly better than my long-term average at the moment, which is about 3.8. It said 1 for him, but that's just because we didn't analyze. Anyway, let's go through the errors. Yeah, this was early on. I did look at this play. Oops, didn't mean to roll it out. We just want to see this is better. Just puts the checkers where we want them. My play, don't really want to play behind and give them a good 6. You can just see it now. Just didn't feel right at the time either. It did take a long time, but when something doesn't feel right and you know it should take even longer. Did I not make the 2-point here? What did I do? Oh no, this is the initial. So that was the right play, making a 2-point. I decided not to leave a shot, which was a huge blunder. I guess the problem is we're losing the race anyway, so we don't just need to button up and play tight. This just leaves us so much better place for the whole game. Even if he hits, we get shots. It's just so obvious here. Horrible mistake. Yeah, this just plays better the whole game. 6-2. Yeah, I said at the time, unloading the midpoint felt natural. Just unloading one of these 5 checkers here to where you want it, instead of stripping the 8 and making the 4. We're not really getting many shots next time, so there's no need to make the point straight away. That one I should have got right. What did I do here? This is what I played. This was slightly better. This is slightly fewer shots. 0.05 error. Another blunder here. This is what I played, hitting on the deuce. Wow. So it just allows the opponent to make a 2-point anchor for the 2-4 holding game. I guess the problem in my play is I just get stuck behind a prime, risk another man being hit back. Whereas here, I'm spreading. If he makes it, he doesn't have that much timing. I've still got 3 men to come around. He might have a busted game, even though he'll have one checker to play with, to skip out, no problems. It may not be a great holding game anyway. So actually, looking at that looks definitely right. Now I get hit back and I've got 3 behind the prime and I'm prime back myself and I've only got a 4 prime. He's actually got a better broken priming structure than me. So I want to play to my strength, which is winning the game and escape, rather than worry too much about getting in a neutral back game. This is what I did. So what's the start? I see. So it makes the outside point and breaks the prime. You can see it now. Why it looks better. I mean, I said at the time I'm stuck back with 3 men here. What do I play next? I'm going to have to break my prime anyway, or just leave and get slaughtered when he's got upfield control and he's improving. We're going to have builders. Yeah, that one I should have got right. Nothing really to learn there. Okay, so even at double match point, when we're 2 away, and the cue's been turned, the double hit was better, taking away half his roll. Then my player just quietly coming down to the 8 wins an extra 1.5% of games, the double hit, I guess because he's got that block there as well. It's thematic. My race lead isn't big enough just to play safe. And that's it, folks. So I probably haven't got that much time to play Backgammon for a while because I'm busy editing this book to have to you sometime early next year. So my challenge is probably on hold for a moment now that I've reached the top 100, and I may revisit it when I've got a little bit of time at a later date. But ahead of it might be fun to get more guests on the show, like out of the 12 geniuses, even if we could play matches against all of them and have a chat with them about how they found the quiz in the run up to it being published. That could be quite cool. I know the vlogs with Zizi and Moshi were you preferred than the ones where I'm just blabbering on. So I'll try and get some really top players onto the vlog. And that's it for now. Take it easy. Bye.